Vlogmas Day 2. I'm exhausted. I've only just got up. Apologies if you were waiting for the video last night. So we took my son down to have his COVID jab, and we were supposed to get there 6:05, so we got there a little bit early. You don't like to hold people up, so we were there at 6:10. I think we left about 7:30. They just took forever, and I don't know if it's because it's the younger children having it done that they took a bit more time with things and wanted to explain to the children, whereas with adults it's just like in, jab and out. I was in less than 5 minutes, I think. But he did get biscuits afterwards, so he was happy. And then we'd promised him, for being so brave, he could go for a McDonald's. So there was another hour gone. So yeah, by the time I got back here to start editing the video and things, it was 9:15, 9 o'clock. So yeah, that won't be happening today. Who knows what time it'll go out today, but the fact that I actually got it out before midnight, that's a win for me. I'm going to go with that one. So let's have some tea, excuse me. So today there are 2 crochet projects, so I'm going to do part 2 of the advent calendar from last year's Little Box of Crochet advent calendar, the garland. So I'm trying to get the lights right in here. They're very yellow, these lights. And so this is the cone that I made yesterday for Father Christmas. He's going to be tall because that's sort of the body and then the head on top. So he's going to be a big chap. Which would be nice. I think he'll look lovely in the fireplace. So that's the cone. I may have messed it up a little bit, and I think I might have done it too small, but as I said yesterday, we've got loads of packing boxes, so that'll be fine. So that's ready to go, and then part 2 today is making Father Christmas's head. I can never tell if that's blurry or not. So we're making his head, and then I can't show you the pattern, I'm sorry. And then stuffing his head. I don't have to stick it on anywhere at the moment, I don't think. So that's that. And then just for a quick update, coat and fur trim are days 3 to 5. Now in theory this should match this. And that's when I know whether or not I'm on the right track. So we'll soon know. So that's the crochet projects for today. And oh, advent calendar. Back in a sec. Whew, right. So today is Thursday the 2nd of December. So I'm obviously looking for day 2. Oh, there we go, day 2. And it rather quickly. Okay, so we have a red envelope, or red stripy envelope, day 2 on there. Not quite sure what this is. Maybe I should just open it. So let's have a look. It could be a pen, I'm thinking. Yes, it is a pen. Okay, so it's a lovely pen, beautiful purple, and it says Proud Hooker. Oh, and it's even got a one of the rubber bits that you can use if you write on your phone and things. So that's cool. And it writes in black. Yes, lovely. I like that. Proud Hooker. Oh yeah. So another slurp. So on Saturday we're doing a craft fair. Now, I had said to myself I wasn't going to do any craft fairs for a while until we sort of got settled in the house. And we went to a Macmillan Coffee Morning sort of craft fair a couple of weeks ago, and the lady that was organising it, we'd actually met outside our house walking her beautiful huskies, and she runs the craft fair. So we'd had a chat with her, and she said, "Oh, you must do the December one." I'm like, "No, I've got far too much on at the moment, and maybe next Christmas when I'm a bit more settled." And anyway, she posted something on the group for the craft fair group that I joined, that they had 2 cancellations. So I mentioned this to my husband, and he went, "I could sell some of my leather stuff." So now we're going to do it together. So sort of half a stall of his, half a stall of mine. We haven't done a craft fair 2 Christmases ago, Christmas 2019. I was due to do one in the April, and then obviously we went into the lockdown in the March. So haven't done one since Christmas 2019, which feels like such a long time. Now, I used to be able to just go, yep, everything. I know where everything is in the boxes. I know where everything goes on the table. But I got no idea. And now I'm sharing a table with somebody else, and I'm, somebody else, with my husband. So it's going to be, I'm going to have to do a little trial run, I think. So I thought that's what I might show you today, is how I'm going to do the trial run, the setup, things that you need for a craft fair. So if you've ever done a craft fair, you'll be going, yep. And if I've forgotten anything, can you let me know in the comments below? And also, if you've never done a craft fair before, you might go, oh, that's a good idea, and pick up a few tips. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So depending if you're doing your craft fair in a hall or if you're doing it in a field, you may or may not have tables provided for you. You can buy tables. Usually your space will be 6 foot by 2 foot, so that's the sort of table that you want to buy if you're buying one. So I have this one here, which is folded in half. Everything you take to a craft fair you really want to be collapsible, because if you're carrying stuff up and down stairs or across car parks, yeah, you want things as easy as possible, and then you've got to store it at the other end, so you don't want to be taking anything that's sort of too heavy or you can't store very easily. So I'm just going to get the table set up and good to go. So tablecloth is on. It's been in a box for a while. So I know that it needs a wash to refresh it, and it's going to need ironing. You put a tablecloth on that is completely creased, and it kind of looks like you don't care. So always wash your cloth, always iron it. Even if it's got the lines from where it's been folded, if I bring you a bit closer, you'll see that it's got all sorts of different creases all over it. So that's my next tip, is make sure that you iron your cloth, and make sure when you put it on, move back a bit, that you actually have it level with the floor, because once you've got everything on there, you're not going to be able to readjust it. So make sure that you've got your tablecloth all nice and level. So I'm using a single bed sheet, I think it is. So if you get one that, don't get one with the fitted corners, it's not going to work. You can get special table covers. Let me just move that up a bit. You can get special table covers that sort of go underneath the feet, so you know they don't move around and things. I found that nobody's ever pulled my tablecloth off. You can put little pegs on to keep the corners going round, so they don't sort of flap about. And you could leave it there if you wanted to, or you could put another cloth on top. So this is the cloth I used for my very first craft fair, because I went, oh, everything needs to be red and dotty. So that was with my first business, which I no longer run. I changed it to Frith Friends. So this was the one I had then. But this is a Christmas fair, so I'm thinking maybe I need to put something Christmassy down. or I could put the new tablecloth down that I had bought for the Easter fair that never happened. Haven't decided yet, but I might just put that one on for now because I don't know where the Christmas one is. So the next thing I want to think about is the products you're selling and how you're going to display those. So having a little bit of height and different height differences adds a bit more interest. If everything's flat on a table, people just say, oh yeah, okay, they move on. Whereas if you've got a big sort of grand display, oh, they put a bit of effort into that. That's a lovely table to go and have a look at. I want to see more. So let me show you a little trick. So these are my collapsible shelves. Really light. They're just made out of, I think they're pine. There might even be some sort of balsa wood, but I think they're pine. But really sturdy shelves, but they collapse. Genius. Whoops, easy to get into your car. So you just open the two side gates and then these drop down and slot in. Sorry about that. Now the one disadvantage you have here is that there's gaps in the actual things. So if you've got smaller items, they're obviously going to fall through and you don't want that to happen. So my previous stall, excuse me, I had artificial grass as my sort of top table because everything was to do with woodland and being outside and things. So I cut some little rectangles of artificial grass to pop on the top so things didn't fall through, and it just added another little dimension to what I was doing. So there's the stand with the little bits of artificial grass there just to add a little bit extra. Because of the eaves I can't actually move this back, so I might have to move this table forward a bit. Okay, so I'm not going to put too much in front of this. Look down there. There's a little bit of space, but I don't want to put too much in front because it's going to end up blocking what's on the shelf there. So actually having a bit of space at the back is quite useful if you need to put down your cup of tea or you want to put some bags down or something like that. So it doesn't matter if you do have a bit of space at the back. Excuse me, we don't want to overcrowd the table anyway. So I've got a bit of height at this end. I now need to have some sort of height at the other end. So I do have two of these, so I could actually make it symmetrical if I wanted to. But another way you can do giving height is to use one of these crates. So you could either have the crates this way round with the open front, you could display some things inside and then on top. You could have it long ways round, doing the same thing if you've got taller products you want to display and have something on top. Or you could just have it this way round with something tall on top, which is what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to pop that in the corner, make sure it's nice and steady. And I have some little charms, little angel charms here, which go on a light up tree. I may swap the tree round, there you go, twinkles. I may swap the tree around because I have some white light up trees and that might look better, although I quite like this one just for giving that sparkle without being too Christmassy, especially since we're quite early in Advent. Don't have to waste the battery, just going to turn that off. So this then pops on top of here. And I'm able then to have things inside. I usually keep my little bags for packaging things up, maybe a few extra business cards. You could even hide your money box inside so that it's not sort of too obvious. So got a little bit of height there, but adding interest by it not being symmetrical. So next you need to have something in that middle area, again with a little bit of height, bringing it off the table just so you've got lots of variety. So this is one of the things that I use. I'll put a link to the Etsy shop where I bought this. Super cheap, again collapsible. So here's the shelving unit all set up together. They do give you instructions that come with it. They're fine the first time, but then the next time you kind of go, oh actually I think I remember that. So you just need to make sure you've got all your bits laid out, and you know there's a small piece there, and then these three are slightly bigger, and you just got to slot it together. It's a jigsaw, you've got to get it together in the right order. So one of the things I do like about this, as well as it being light and easy to collapse, you end up with this little space behind, which means that you can again keep your cup of tea in there, your bottle of water, your packed lunch. You've got space on your table, because they won't give you much space behind your table. You've got enough to sort of walk up and down, maybe have a chair at the end if you're really lucky, because if it's a slow fare you'll want to sit down. If it's a busy fare you don't want to sit down, so there's kind of another tip there. What I found is if people are sat down, even if you're sitting down doing your crochet or whatever your craft is, sometimes people will show some interest, but other times they'll walk straight past. Whereas if you're standing up and you go, hello, or morning, or looking for anything special, or have you got Christmas sorted yet? Have you started your Christmas shopping? Do you need something for Secret Santa? You know, give them little reminders of why they're actually there. You know, they might have forgotten that they've got to get a Secret Santa gift. So why not ask them? So that one I'm going to pop in the middle there. So I've got my basic setup. I can still have things, maybe some bowls and things on the actual table down here. But I've got a little bit of height to sort of show me, not to show me, I've got a little bit of height there to show my wares. And I think that'll probably be all that I'll take with us tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Saturday. You're losing a day. So I'm just going to figure out now what stock I'm actually going to take with me. And right, let's go rummaging. So I'm trying not to overcrowd the table too much, but I wanted to make sure I had some of my bigger notebooks out and tried to get as many designs out as I can. So I'm just going through and seeing, is there anything that I haven't got as a big one? So I'd have to have a fox there, that's kind of essential. If I've got a flamingo and a fox, I'm happy. Okay, I've got unicorns out. I don't have any bunnies, so that might be quite sweet. Although the bunny could go, oh, I can't see him there. So the bunny there. Got a hedgehog. I've got a bird. I've got an owl. So normally I would have, I've actually got 3 of these stands, so normally I would have them all out and then some other bits at the end. But I don't have as much stock because I wasn't planning on doing craft fairs, so I was, if you saw my studio tour video, I make up the toppers, I store all those in the drawers over there, and then I've got the books, and then when an Etsy order comes in I just put them together. So I don't have as much stock actually made up at the moment. So I might actually make a couple more, because I know there's some of my stock that is missing that maybe people would like. So I might make up just a couple more, although I said I wouldn't. I think I might. Okay, so that's the notebooks done. So these sorts of wire stands are really quite useful if you've got little key rings, maybe some charms like this you want to display in a different way. This one's a jewellery stamp. If I stand in front of it, you might be able to see it with the red of my shirt. So this one, because I have the Frith Friends, it's all to do with woodlands. This one's sort of tree shaped, so I quite like that one for showing off key rings. And then I have a slightly smaller one. What I like with these two is you have somewhere to actually put the price, and I'll talk about pricing in a minute when I've had a little play around with what we need to do here. So I think I've got most of the stock I want out. So I've got my little angel charms here, I've got some of my notebooks which I may or may not add to. This is the advantage of doing something beforehand. I know now exactly what stock I have got. I've also got the whole of tomorrow to do any quick makes that I might need to do, or do any washing of the tablecloths and things like that. So best to do it earlier rather than do it the day before and then go, well, actually I haven't got time, and then because you thought about it, you worried about it. So that's that. And then over here I have some pencil charms. Don't know if that'll show up on here. Let's try it. Oh, it's really bright in here. I've got no lights on at all. So a little pencil charm there. And I used to have these in lots of little tins, and I wrote on them exactly what was in each tin, and people still look through every single tin, so I thought, you know what, I'm not going to take up that much space. I'm just going to have one, and people can come and have a rummage through. That may well end up on the table because then people can have a better look through, not sure yet. And then I've got my lip balm key rings, so there's really cute little buttons on there, obviously a fox. Actually there isn't a flamingo one, I didn't find one that worked well. So you can undo the button, and then inside is a little chapstick, and there's a little key ring on there as well, which is great for kids to put on their book bag. So nice to have a few things that people can afford, you know, they're going for a couple of pounds rather than everything being quite expensive. So at least they feel like they've bought something, and once they bought something from you once, if you're doing a regular craft fair in the same place, then they're more likely to buy from you again because they've liked the product you did before. So always worth having something smaller out as well. Next thing you might want to think about is bags. So I have some of these little organza bags, which I use to put the little fairies in. So I have those, which, you know, again makes it a bit of a nicer gift. And then I have plastic bags. No, I don't. I have paper bags. I don't have plastic bags. For the very reason I'm about to say is people don't want the plastic, but something, this isn't too Christmassy, so if I did want to use it again at a different time of year I could, but it's got sort of Christmassy feel to it. But I've also got different spotty bags and stripy bags about different times of the year. The green spotty ones, they were sort of a leftover. I used to have red spotty ones as well that went with the red tablecloth that I showed you earlier. So I was thinking about branding all the way through. So yeah, so these are quite nice. Make sure they're bags that your things actually fit in. It's always useful. So bags, it makes people feel, rather than just chucking something into their handbag, it makes it just feel like a bit more of a special purchase. Especially if you don't charge for the bags, and because they're paper bags you don't need to. Now, just so I don't forget anything, I'm actually going to put my paper bags behind one of these so I know where the paper bags are, and that's quite steady. And I'm going to put these ones inside the little fairy bag box, sorry, so I know that they're there and ready to go. So the next thing to think about is your pricing and your money, and pricing is going to be very personal to you. Some people charge less at craft fairs than they do on Etsy because of the sort of the less work that's sort of involved, because you haven't got to do the individual listings and the photos and all that. Some people charge more because you've got to pay for the table and your time, so it is a balancing act. I tend to charge pretty much the same price on Etsy as I do on the craft fair. But one of the things I do is round up, because if you are taking your money bag and you have, I don't know, £10 worth of pound coins because you sell things for £3.99, £9.99, whatever, just round it up. That way you don't have to take all the different denominations of coins with you. Denomination's the right word? Anyway, so I price up my things, and some people don't put prices on their stalls, and I find that people won't ask because they're too embarrassed if they can't afford something, therefore they'll just walk away anyway. So you might as well put your prices on so that they can see how much an item is worth, and if they can afford it they can buy it, and there's no embarrassment either way. So I have these little blackboard signs that have a peg on the back, but equally you could make little sort of tent signs. If you do and you're going to be doing lots of craft fairs, I would suggest laminating them so you can use them over and over again. So I'm going to put my little signs out now. Okay, so everything I have is priced. I have my little Conquer Crochet flyer, just so that I can promote the Conquer Crochet YouTube channel as well. Lots of people take these because obviously it's free, and it is free. So always have those out with me as well. Going back to the little book stand that I've got here, or card stand, it actually comes in a natural wood, and I painted it because I was trying to go a bit more on brand. So I painted it with this little, sorry, the bottle's squeezy, Little Fairs Beach Hut Green water-based wood dye. So that is really, really easy to use. It is very runny. Make sure you have something underneath, but because it's water-based it should wash out. But you get that nice sort of soft pastel-y colour with it. They do this in lots of different colours. I think I bought this on Amazon. If I have, I will pop a link below. If not, I'll do a little search to see if I can find it. So as I said, when it comes to money, you want to make sure you have lots of £5 notes, lots of £10 notes, because you can guarantee at the start of the fair someone will come in with a £20 note and you won't have change, or all your change will go. You also want to have lots of pound coins or £2 coins. If all your products are £10 and £5, then obviously you don't need the coins. But if you're doing prices in between, coins are really useful. And like I said, don't do things at 50p because you have to carry 50p, they are heavy. Don't do things that are 99 pence because you've got to carry the pennies, again they're heavy. So just round everything up to whole pounds, makes your life much easier. When you're storing your money at the fair, sorry, there are different ways of storing it. So I may well use this one on Saturday because there's going to be 2 of us there. So it's just a little money tin. It's got a little key to lock it, but it's just somewhere to keep your money all together. What I usually use when I'm at my own craft fairs and I'm on my own, I have this little basket. I have this little belt, little money belt, so I can keep all my change in there, any little notes that I make. I also keep in there my iZettle. There are other payment systems you can have, so this is just a card payment. This one is a new one. I haven't used it, I don't think. I think I bought it just after the Christmas fair and then never got to use it. So it works on your Wi-Fi, and it's just a contactless payment, which now is going to be great because I'm not going to have to hand my phone over to someone for them to put things in. And the other thing I'm going to take with me this time is anti-bac wipes and spray so that I can wipe this down. Now if you take cards, what I tend to find is people will buy more because they've only got £10 with them. They were going to go and buy a cake and a coffee, and then they'll have to come back to your store with whatever money they've got left, and they get distracted on the way and they meet a friend and then they go. So if you've got a card payment system, advertise it. So my iZettle came with a sticker, and I've just popped that sticker into a frame. I actually have a new frame which I might use instead of this one. In fact, I'll go and get it now. So you can see where I was going with the branding. So this one's a green one, this one's from Neon Sheep. So it's just a nice simple green frame. In fact, I bought this, my mum bought it for me, the Saturday before we went into the lockdown. So I've literally just taken it out of its bubble wrap. I have a new sticker which I'm going to display in there, and then that being on my store, people don't have to ask the question and then think, oh well, they don't want to buy something. You know, you start that whole conversation, don't you? This makes it really clear. So the other thing you want to remember is if you have flyers or business cards or any sort of literature, You could either pop something in the bag when they buy it so that they know, or you can just have them out on display. Now you can buy these very simple acrylic ones from Amazon that will just hold your cards for you, or you can, in fact I have a crocheted one somewhere. I have to figure out what I did with that one. So you can have that on your table, and some people will just take a card. But if that means I'll go and look at your Etsy shop or your Facebook shop, whatever you have, then it's worth doing. If you're doing any craft fairs, stand up, smile, even if you're absolutely shattered because you've been up at ridiculous o'clock trying to get everything ready. And on that point, if you are able to, park your car on a drive or in a garage, load your car up the night before. Don't put your money in or your card reader or anything like really valuable. Obviously your stock is valuable anyway, but anything that's like super valuable, don't leave in the car. But you know, you can put a sheet over it. Most people aren't going to look in your car. You'd be very unlucky if something did happen. But it does mean that, you know, you spend time getting ready to look craft fair beautiful, and before you even pull out the drive you're like, especially if it's raining. So make sure you do something the night before, even if it's just loading up the sort of the display bits, and then you put your stock in later on. The different ways of taking your things in, I've had big suitcases that I put things in, I've had plastic boxes that I carry stuff in, and I've got one of those wheelie trolleys, because you can guarantee that they'll say, oh, don't park in this car park because it's for customers, can you park in the pub 300 yards up the road, and you've got to carry all this heavy stuff. So wheelie trolleys are really good, wheelie suitcases are really good. Make sure you look smart, presentable, do your hair, do your makeup, especially the men. Make sure you're wearing something, so I will probably wear something fairly festive but sparkly. You know, you're on show, so put on a performance. I know when I do things with my husband, he gets really involved, and he's, you know, get turned into a bit of a Cockney market stall, a bit of a Del boy, you know. So yeah, we have a bit of fun with that, and he gets people coming over and he talks to them a lot, possibly more than I do, but you know, we're all different. But even just smile, say good morning, have you done your shopping yet, you know, how's the weather outside, if it's a really bad day, is it, you know, brightened up? And bad weather will affect things. I did a fair on a weekend where we'd had really heavy snow and nobody turned up, obviously. Really brilliant sunny days, nobody turns up. Really heavy rain, nobody turns up. So it's a bit hit and miss, but the more you do, the more you know which sort of fairs you want to do. So I'd got to a point where I was doing pretty much every local village around me in the old house, all their summer fetes. I do all the Christmas fetes. I was doing various other things in between, charity fairs, and I actually got to a point where they weren't worth my while because I wasn't making enough money for the effort I was putting in, when I could concentrate on so 2 or 3 a year that I knew I was going to make the bigger money out of, because they were the Christmas fair or they were very well advertised. So, you know, if you haven't seen anything on Facebook at all about your fair, is it one you want to do? Yeah, if there's no banner, what are you paying for? You know, you're paying for the organisers to advertise. So this one I'm doing Saturday, we've all been sent our little photo of the flyer for us to share. They've been sharing it, there's been flyers coming around the door, there's a banner, there's stuff all over the village. So everyone knows it's on, we've just got to hope people will come out. Yeah. So I'm hoping that people will support local, and if you are able to support local or even just support small, we all really appreciate it. And yes, we do a little happy dance. So I've just had my lunch and done some lunchtime crocheting. So I've done the next part of the 2020 advent calendar from Little Box of Crochet. I'm going to upload some of this now so that I can try and be on time today. 2 things I forgot to mention about craft fairs in the part earlier. I I have some fairy lights that, being Christmas, wanted to have some fairy lights up. So these are the same fairy lights that I have around the side. So they are little white berries. These ones are plug-in ones. Check before you leave whether or not you have access to electricity, because if you're, the plug's there and you're the other side of the hall, they're not going to run an extension cable. So it might be worth you having battery operated or even solar fairy lights if you're wanting to put a bit more of a festive feel. Just having some nice little bits of decoration around just gives your store a little bit more. I think I'm going to put some ivy around the tall tower. What else might I do? I don't want to put any crocheted Christmas things out because people then think they're for sale. So it's always best to try and just do things that aren't too obvious that they might be for sale, if that makes sense. I've used to have little toadstools and little cuddly toy things, and people are always wanting to buy them, but unless you've gone through the whole CE testing for cuddly toys, then you can't sell them, and you could get done if trading standards come round. So just a word of warning there if you do sell toys. And the other thing to have is an order book. So somebody might want to order something, but equally you might want to write down in the back of your book, every time you sell something, I've sold one necklace or one scarf or whatever it is that you sell and the price, and then you can tally up how much you've sold. And I have to say that when you get to sort of halfway through the fair and you're like, oh, is this worth it? Having a look and going, oh, actually I've made £50 or whatever, and then you think, yeah, that's not so bad. Take away the table charge, I'm doing well, it's sort of £30–35. At least I've made some money today. So having a book and a pen, really useful. So here's a picture of the crocheting I did earlier. I've actually started, I'm trying to get a little bit ahead of myself, so I've actually started the next bit. So I can't sort of go, oh, this is what I've done, because I've done more. And I'm going to do a little bit of work on the computer this afternoon, edit this video, and then I'm going to start on my Father Christmas head. So I'll actually show you the head tomorrow, because I need to sort of crochet into the night, and I don't really want another midnight finishing. So I'm going to say goodbye. So hope you've enjoyed this one. Hope you've seen a little bit of insight into doing craft fairs, and if you've never done one before and fancy doing one, I hope you maybe have learned something. And if you do them all the time and I've forgotten something, please let me know, because it's been quite a while. And I don't want to forget something on my first fair back. So, take a packed lunch. That's the other thing. Sometimes teas and coffees are provided. Packed lunch and water. They were the two things I needed to remember. So I need to nip off to Sainsbury's later to get a packed lunch sorted. So that's it. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me on today's Vlogmas, and happy hooking!